I would say it's exactly the opposite. ISIS exists and grew stronger because of the hawks in our party who gave arms indiscriminately, and most of those arms were snatched up by ISIS. These hawks also wanted to bomb Assad, which would have made ISIS's job even easier. They created these people.
All right, Rand Paul has taken off the gloves. He's throwing punches at not only Democrats, but his fellow Republicans as well, now blaming the likes of Lindsey Graham for creating ISIS. This and a whole lot more. Let's go ahead and get the dance card rolling. First, let's welcome Reverend and author of the book Femmevangelical, Jennifer Crumpton. And also, he's a filmmaker and a comedian, which is always good to have on a panel like this. Steve Mazan joins us. I want to thank you both for joining us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Steve, I'm going to start with you on this one because Rand Paul comes out and blames the Republicans now for the hawks in our party creating ISIS. Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth as a comic, but there are some people who would say that this is pretty funny stuff, but I guarantee there's not a lot of Republicans really laughing today after he said this.
No, I think they're quite the opposite. I think they're feeling betrayed on this. But this is what Rand Paul does, right? This is when he's greatest. When he seems like he doesn't have any party that he agrees with. He's right in the middle. And listen, this is going to be great for the election, if anything. But yeah, he's definitely not making any friends. And maybe this is his plan. Maybe by the end of this, he'll be running as an independent, because I don't think,
Well, but wait a minute. That's a good point here when you talk about running an independent campaign here, because, Jennifer, if you look at this on the Washington Post that came out, it takes a look at all the things that Rand Paul has talked about, and it would seem to be great stuff if he was going up against Hillary Clinton, like he's a tree hugger on the environment, crony capitalism on Wall Street, and he said on his party right now, the Republican brand sucks. So what's he doing right now? Is he trying to appeal to everybody else, alienate everybody? I mean, this is really an interesting way to look at things and an interesting way to go about getting elected.
Ed, I think it's a brilliant strategy on Rand Paul's part. He's really separating himself from the clown car of Republican candidates. You know, they just keep coming.
How dare you insult clowns that way?
He's not making the mistake that many of the GOP candidates do, which is swinging really far right for the primaries, and then when they get to the general election, people have said dumb things about legitimate rape or, you know, mistakes that they would make again and again. So I think this is a brilliant independent thinker type of strategy.
Wait a minute now, and let me ask this. Steve, I'll come to you on this. Okay, I'll give you the fact that it could be a really brilliant strategy here. But in many ways, he's going to alienate an awful lot of people on the right when he says this, and don't you need their votes if you're going to get the Republican nomination in the first place?
Well, of course, but this is kind of, we've seen this in past elections. This is what they do. They go really far in the primaries, right, one direction, and then once the election comes, he'll come back to the middle. He's already done it. We've already seen him. You know, that shot of him when he declared he was running in front of the aircraft carrier. They just go all over the place. You really won't know what he believes until he's in office.
All right, let's talk about somebody now who also thinks he wants to get into office, and I'll stay with you on this one, Steve. Rick Santorum is going to announce that he will run for president, and obviously there are people thinking that, well, he's going to go after that far-right vote. Maybe he's going to get that far-right vote. It could be perfectly timed right after Mike Huckabee pretty much committed POTUS suicide by basically saying that he was going to forgive the Duggars.
Right, it's ridiculous. You can't see. It's almost like no one wants it. It's like a hot potato. Like each person is just passing around instead of giving up the hot potato, the sticky, kind of bad thing you don't want to be tagged with. Everyone's grabbing it.
But does Santorum have a shot? Let me throw this to you first of all. Do you think Santorum really has a shot? Even if he gets the people that would have voted for Mike Huckabee, does he have any realistic shot?
Not at all. Definitely not in the general election, right? He again, just like you said, he'll attract a lot of voters on the far right because of those stances, and they're going to love it. But not in the general election. There's no way.
All right, Jennifer, let me then throw it to you, because there were those people saying that, wait a minute, Rick Santorum is a guy who's had some success, but come on, is he really what the country needs in 2016? And can he fight through, and can he actually be part of, as you put it so perfectly, the clown car?
Well, look, when he says he's going to be a social justice warrior or a social issue warrior, and that's his strategy, I hearken back to the days of the 50s. I see in the future more all-male contraception panels and women being told to put an aspirin between their knees. So he also makes a very interesting connection between reaching out, he says, to low-income groups, but also his evangelical base. So I'm really interested to see how those things are going to come together, seeing as a lot of the rhetoric for the evangelical base tends to be about a Jesus who told people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps that they didn't even have, Jesus the capitalist. So I'm really interested to see how he bridges this gap between focusing on low-income people and the evangelical base in the traditional sense.
All right, let's turn to the current president then. President Obama, now we have, let's see, we have immigration, we have Obamacare, we have all these things that are winding up in the courts right now. This is a legacy that is in a tremendous amount of trouble here, Jennifer, where it would seem as if he's going to come down maybe to next year as a real lame duck president and nothing will get done. You have to wonder if he planned a wonderful legacy, Jennifer, it's all gone wrong at this point.
I don't think so. You know, I think just because you have an obstructionist Congress and you have a Supreme Court that's weighted 5-4 Republican to Democrat, I don't think that necessarily equals a failed presidency. He killed he killed Osama bin Laden. He is opening up Cuba. He has, you know, the Affordable Care Act funds millions of people who couldn't get insurance otherwise.
Well,
so,
but wait a minute, Jennifer.
I'm
going to take a little umbrage with you there because there are a tremendous lot of hidden costs in Obamacare that are coming out, and he did not kill Osama bin Laden. Actually, the military did. It was in plans for a lot of years here. So come on, aren't you giving him a little bit more than he deserves?
Well, any president would take credit for that, right? For the strategy behind doing so. But I really believe, you know, this lawsuit that's coming was actually set up by conservative and libertarian think tanks. So, you know, we'll see it go to the Supreme Court. We'll see what happened. Some of the justices are hinting that because, you know, the federal law within this case is already weighted to, the language already says that federal oversight can be done in the states where it's not happening on its own. So I really think we'll come out on the other side of this unscathed.
All right, Steve, 30 seconds, really quick. What do you think about this whole legacy issue for the president?
Yeah, I think it is crazy. It's, you know, we never know the legacy till way after. You know, what's the legacy of George Bush? You know what I mean? If you would have taken it in the last months of his presidency, you would have said one thing than what we look back on now, and we really believe. We really know that we need some hindsight to look back with a better vision of it. I think Jennifer makes a good point. I think the only thing that would make him have a good legacy amongst the conservatives, if he did kill Obama instead of Osama. If he killed himself, that would...
Let's not go there.
Right,
all right. Oh, I
Freudian
can see
slip
it now.
said it
Here we
all.
go. All over social media here. Look what Mazan said right now. We're all in trouble. All right. I got 60 seconds left. To you first on this, Steve. James Woods, the actor, comes out and he tweets a picture that has liberals screaming today. Yeah. Here it is, the official Obama flag flown with pride. We accept EBT. From a comedy standpoint, you think he nailed this one?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. He's a funny guy. I've actually had the chance to meet him a couple times here in LA. This guy has the biggest head I've ever met in the world. If you've ever seen this guy, it's huge. There's satellites revolving around this thing, and I might disagree with him on a lot of things, but that's a funny comment. And his head's so big, he may know a lot more than I. It's pretty impressive. I think he nailed this one comedically, at least.
20 seconds to you, Jennifer. What's your take?
I never think it's very funny or cute to humiliate the poor. So I actually had to look up James Woods. I sort of knew who he was. I know, you know, he's famous for these quotes, but I don't think it's all that cute or funny.
Okay, well, we'll have to say this much then. James Woods' head is 10 times its size when he's on Family Guy. That's another story altogether. If you ever seen that, that's a little bit incredible to see. Steve, Jennifer, I want to thank you both so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Thanks.
We'll talk to you again both very soon.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. First
Thank
of all,
you,
we
Ed.
got the news out of the way. Let's turn to the rest because this is the show that questions everything. MidPoint continues.